All right, so we're still going to be in the Research Company 1 tab. So the next resource I'm going to show you is Vault Career Intelligence. And it's going to be right here within the same section. And we're going to click on Connect. And Vault is a database that has information on companies. They have feedback information. They have a variety of different tools and tips that you can use in order to help you with your resume. It can help you with interviewing. It can help you understand the industry as a whole. And most importantly, it gives you background information based on employees who have worked there. So the difference between the content that you find here at Vault compared to another resource on Google, where you can see some of the comments of employees who have worked there, is Vault goes through a process where it confirms that the employee worked there or has worked there in the past, and it makes sure that all the content more or less has an equal balance of feedback and that it's providing for its users. Because if you go to a particular website that has and feedback from their potential employer, you don't really know what you're getting for the most part. So with Vault, it's making sure that A, it confirms the people who have worked at these organizations, and B, they're making sure that they're having much more of a balanced approach when it comes to um, just their perceptions of what worked, what didn't work within the organization, and etc. So the first place I want to show you is the search box. So we can look that based on industries, or we can keep it simple and type in the company that we want. So it's showing us a total of 644 results, and we're going to click on the company that we are targeting. If we scroll down here for the Vault ranking, this is the best internet and social media company within their ranking. And the rankings are collected once again based on former employees as well as current employees. So it's giving us a fair balance of what the work life would be like within Google. So some of the uppers, right? Best in class, perks and benefits. Some of the downers. Um, Company faces increasing threat from younger competitors. And the bottom line, Google hires up to 4,000 employees per year, but receives around 1 million applications. This is something that you want to take into consideration because I think the perception with some undergraduates and graduates is they're going to go into the workforce and they're going to apply for this position and they're hoping that everything works out without really having a detailed analysis of the company and their odds of getting a position. And what Vault does, it really gives you a firm assessment of your chances of getting a position. And once again, this is going to depend on your qualifications and other things that you have done. So if we click on the Survey Says tab, it's going to give us an overview, so Vault's verdict on their perception of Google, which is really interesting. And the reviews based on people who have worked there. Right? So we can see former employee, and it's really basic. That's what one of the things I like about Vault. It's pretty straightforward. So some of the uppers, the downers, and the advice to candidates. So this is once again, this type of information is difficult to get from valid former employees, and Vault does a fantastic job in collecting this information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll up here and I want to show you a couple tabs. So with Career Advice tab, you can click on the resume tips and samples. And we can just browse. And they're going to give us some templates that we can view based on different industries. I'm just going to click on there. Once again, we are very lucky to have this resource because you can download these templates based on your field that you're seeking to go in. I'm going to just take a step back. And I'm going to go back to the career advice. They have cover letter advice, interviewing tips and questions, which is an important aspect of this. So I'm going to click on interview tips and questions. And it's broken down by different areas. So I think one of the important things is looking at certain sample interview questions, especially behavioral interview questions that might come up. So a lot of these tell me about one of your weaknesses. And it really gives you a detailed description of kind of the overview of what you should be looking at and more or less how you should approach these particular questions. Traditional interview, finance interview. Once again, if you are going into a finance and you're doing some type of consulting type of aspect, they have a lot of good resources for people who are going to go into finance. They have a variety of different resources, but if you are going into finance, Vault has a lot of good content that will prepare you for interviews as well as resumes and etc. So I want to stick to the career advice tab. So we looked at the interview tips and questions, resume tips and samples. But I wanted to show you the research industries. And this is collected based on them. They have their own Vault rankings. As we can see, if we wanted to click on view all rankings, best industries for MBAs, best industries for undergraduates, fastest growing industries, a really good resource to have. So I'm going to see if we can click on the fastest growing industries. So energy, pharmaceuticals, engineering, information tech, etc. And what we can do is we can click on these particular industries. And once again, the resource here is very simplified, good information in terms of you having an understanding of this particular industry from Vault's perspective, industry outlook, trends and issues, and etc. So you have a variety of different resources that you can use from Vault. And there's so much information that I believe we won't have enough time to get through Vault. But once again, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact Bobby or I during any time.